Hi, and welcome to the Mighty Crispy. So here we have the inking video, inking and coloring of the Nightwing that I posted up on last week. And so when I posted that video up, I sort of pushed it out there a lot, and I had a lot of views for my standards, anyway, a lot of views, and some new subscribers. So hi, welcome, thanks for subscribing, thanks for all your kind words, guys, and I am going to keep it up. Um, so This one I did in two parts, just because it did take quite a while to do. It's a bigger drawing and that kind of thing. So we had the pencils last week. You can click the link below if you missed that. And this week, the inking. So you can see right now I'm going over sort of the rough pencil lines with the '05 micron pen. And here, you pick out the lines that work best. So sometimes I go right over the lines. You can see I get in really close and in the way of the camera once in a while when I'm trying to be very precise. And other times I'm just sort of going with the motion of the lines that I had penciled in earlier. So you're not necessarily tracing, but sort of picking the best line um, out of what you've done previously. So there, my head's right in the way. And because I'm going in and trying to do the really tight in detail work. And so I'm pretty sure I've probably switched to the 01 here now, since I'm doing stuff on the face and the mask. And that kind of thing is, you want to have smaller, thinner lines for the detail work, usually, I find. Like, I use fatter lines for the outlines or on the side of a character that's away from the light. You want to have thicker lines on the shadow side. It sort of gives it that depth. And then you want to have thinner lines for your detail. Now, sometimes it makes it harder to see the detail, and um, I think that more has to do with my coloring ability rather than my inking ability. And so here, I mentioned in the penciling video, I find it really hard to do hair. And one thing that I've learned, I think it was I was watching a Jim Lee video, he talks about coloring clumps of the hair. So you're not trying to draw individual strands, you're not just trying to have a big mass, but you're trying to have sort of clumps of the hair as a whole. And so that's sort of what I've tried to go for there. So here's the inks, and in a second we'll start coloring. So we've started to color the picture of Nightwing. Now you can see the camera angle's different. I went and I set up um, some Legos on a bunch of books and propped the camera up in a different way. So this way, it's a little bit tilted, but my head won't be in the way at all, which is nice. And so I've started coloring. You can see when I'm coloring Nightwing anyways, I tend to do where I want the brighter spots first. So I have uh, the C2 gray, and I'm sort of going over where okay, it's going to be bright. The light's going to come from this side. This is where it's going to be brightest. And then I'm going with, I think it's a C5 gray for the next tone of gray. And just to show the light. Because if you color a suit in all black, you won't see any of the details, and it looks really flat, especially with black, I find. Anyways, and so I'm sort of just highlighting the parts I want to highlight. And you can see again, I'm turning the page to try and stay inside the lines, and I'm correcting a few little things with the micron that I may have missed, or I don't think there'll be enough room to use the Copic to do. And then too, I'm doing some hatching there, like I'm pre-hatching so the edges of the gray. So when I color it in black, it'll cover up the sort of the loose ends in the middle, but then you'll have the hatching into the gray to try and create just um, one more gradient from shiny, this is where the light is shining, to the dark area. And so now I'm going over with the black. And like it actually took, if I was playing this at regular speed, it took me over half an hour to do the coloring of this. And you think that's a long time to color something in mostly gray and black. Um, but I think what ends up making this a good picture is because I took the time to do that coloring that way and leave the little bits of white on the detail so you can see them, and leave the highlights and do that hatching in from gray to black, because it really, to me anyways, this drawing pops really well because of the time I took to sort of look at the lighting and see how it should have gone, and sort of figure all that out in my head before actually putting it down on the paper, and sort of solving those issues as I went along. Um, so the only thing that I didn't really do any of that, you can see I colored like the armpit there, just a solid gray. I think it's a C7. And that's just because it's supposed to be like mesh there, and I didn't know really how to make that sort of not stand out as mesh, but as a different material. And I figured if his suit is shiny, and then the mesh is a flat color, like that sort of works out because it's hard to have shiny mesh, I would think, since light's not hitting on very much of it. And here you got the red, and you can see I've gone over with one shade of red, and then I go and I grab another to use on sort of the dark side of him, or where the shadows should be, so that even on the red, you get that depth happening. So I posted this up on DeviantArt during the week here, and so one of the comments I got was from Kid Melton, and their question was, "Do I take requests?" And like, well, they said, "This is really good. Do you take requests?" I said, "Sure, I do." And so they asked if I could do a Nightwing versus Deathstroke picture. And so you can see here, I did do that, and I had a couple different pencil ideas, and then fleshed out the one where he's coming down, kicking toward him, because I felt it was a better picture, and so that's what I came up with, and that's up on DeviantArt now too. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them on the video below, and I'll answer them. You can check out my blog, themightycrispy.blogspot.ca, where I'm going through drawing on the right side of the brain, and I'm posting up a comic. Follow me on Twitter at Crispy47, and I'll see you next Saturday. Thanks. Bye.